My son rewrote my will behind my back, and when I confronted him, he smiled. Mom, you're getting old. This is for your own good. I built a downtown Seattle real estate portfolio over 50 years. I didn't survive recessions to be managed like a child. I'm Margaret Thompson, 72 years old. When my husband Robert passed 3 years ago, I thought my 3 children would honor the empire we built together. 12 properties worth over $4 million. I was devastatingly wrong. Let me tell you how my family turned into predators while I was still grieving. Late January, my eldest son David, 45, invited me to his Bellevue mansion. Snow was melting on the cedar trees outside his floor-to-ceiling windows. Mom, you're living alone in that big house. What if something happens? His wife Jennifer poured expensive wine, nodding with practiced sympathy. We just worry about you. I should have noticed David called me by my first name for the first time in decades. My daughter Lisa, 43, agreed immediately. Too immediately. David's right. You could move to that lovely senior community near Green Lake. Safe, with friends your age. My youngest son Michael, 39, stayed quiet. He always did when his siblings took over decisions. Have you ever felt your own children treating you like a broken appliance they need to replace? 3 weeks into February, David presented documents during Sunday dinner. Just some paperwork, Mom. Estate planning updates. Dad's old lawyer recommended these changes for tax purposes. I trusted him. He's my son, a successful attorney. I signed without reading. But here's what I didn't know. David had been meeting with Jennifer's brother, an estate attorney, since December. They had rewritten my entire will. Instead of equal inheritance, David would receive 70%. Lisa would get 20%. Michael, who stayed by my side after Robert's death, would inherit only 10%. Worse, they had set up documents positioning David to petition for a conservatorship and control my assets if I ever seemed incapacitated. The truth surfaced during my annual checkup in late July. Dr. Peterson, my physician for 20 years, seemed troubled. Margaret, your son David called asking about your mental capacity. He mentioned something about competency evaluations for legal purposes. My blood turned to ice. What did you tell him? I told him you're sharper than people half your age. But Margaret, why would he ask such questions? That night, Seattle's summer rain drummed against my windows. I couldn't sleep. The next morning, I called my friend Eleanor, whose daughter Susan works at a law office. By afternoon, Susan's voice was shaking on the phone. Mrs. Thompson, this isn't just a will update. These documents could let David petition the court to declare you mentally incompetent. If 2 family members agree, he'd become your legal guardian and control everything you own. Can you imagine your own flesh and blood planning to legally erase you while you're still breathing? I confronted David the following Sunday at family dinner. I placed the documents on his mahogany table. Before we begin, I said, setting my phone between us, I'm recording this conversation for my own protection. His face didn't change. Jennifer continued serving dessert. Mom, we're protecting you from yourself. You're 72. You donated to that telemarketing scam last year. That was $50 to a legitimate children's charity. You see, you can't even remember. It wasn't a charity. He leaned back, supremely confident. Lisa and I have discussed this extensively. You need supervision before you lose everything to scammers. Lisa nodded like a bobblehead. It's not personal, Mom. It's financial reality. But Michael, quiet Michael, finally found his voice. This is theft. Mom is completely fine. You're stealing from her while she's mourning Dad. David's mask slipped. His voice turned cold. Michael, you've always been financially irresponsible. That's why you're getting less. Be grateful you're getting anything at all. That's when I realized this wasn't about protecting me. This was about David's desperation. The next morning, I called my own attorney, someone David had never met. By afternoon, I had revoked the fraudulent will and created a new one. But I didn't stop there. While investigating David's background for the legal battle, my attorney found public records. David's firm was under Washington State Bar Association investigation for client trust account misappropriation. My successful lawyer's son was embezzling money and desperately needed cash to avoid criminal charges. Jennifer's credit card addiction had pushed them into bankruptcy territory. They had quietly taken out 2 additional mortgages on their house. My inheritance wasn't about my welfare, it was about their financial survival. And Lisa? She had been feeding David detailed information about my daily routine, my doctor visits, even my grocery shopping habits, building a case for incompetency. She was getting paid to spy on her own mother. But the private investigator I hired uncovered something that shattered my heart completely. The photos showed David and Lisa meeting monthly at expensive restaurants throughout my grieving period, planning my legal destruction. But the image that still haunts me showed them celebrating after I signed those papers. David was raising a champagne glass. The custom cake on the table read, "To new beginnings." They were toasting my legal death while I was still alive. 2 weeks later, in early August, I called another family meeting. They arrived expecting to discuss my transition to assisted living. Instead, I played the recording from our previous dinner. Their own voices filled the room. David calculating liquidation timelines for my properties, Lisa dividing her percentage, Jennifer planning their European vacation with my money. Silence swallowed the room. "Effective immediately," I announced. "You are all removed from my will entirely. My estate will be donated to the Alzheimer's Association and Seattle's Homeless Shelter Network. The only inheritance you'll receive is knowing that your greed destroyed this family." David's face turned purple. "You can't do this. We're your children." "No," I said, standing straighter than I had in months. "Children love their parents. You're just strangers who happen to share my DNA." Lisa started sobbing. "Mom, please. I have mortgage payments, the kids' college funds. You should have considered that before you tried to rob me blind." Michael stepped forward then, pulling folded papers from his jacket. "Mom, I've been documenting everything since Christmas. David asked me to lie to your doctor about memory problems. I have his texts, his emails. I already gave copies to your lawyer." The room went dead silent. My youngest son, who I thought had stayed quiet from weakness, had been protecting me all along. That was 8 months ago. David's law practice collapsed when the bar investigation concluded with his suspension. He's working document review at a small firm now, making 1/10 of his previous income. Jennifer left him for her personal trainer after the house went into foreclosure. Lisa's husband divorced her when he discovered the inheritance scheme. She's living in a studio apartment, bitter and alone, working retail at the mall where she used to shop. Michael visits every Sunday now. We're slowly rebuilding trust. He proved that courage sometimes looks like quiet observation and timely action. And me? I'm still in my beautiful Queen Anne home, surrounded by neighbors who check on me because they care, not because they want something. I volunteer at the animal shelter twice a week and take watercolor classes at the community center. My health is excellent, my mind is razor sharp, and my finances are secure. Sometimes, when Seattle's morning fog rolls off Elliott Bay, I sit with Robert's old coffee mug and wonder if I was too harsh. Then I remember David's smile when he told me I was getting old, and my resolve returns. The hardest truth isn't the money they tried to steal. It's knowing that while I was mourning my husband of 50 years, my own children were calculating the value of my grief. But here's what they never understood. I survived the Great Recession, raised 3 children while building a business empire, and nursed Robert through 2 years of cancer treatments. I'm tougher than they ever imagined, and smarter than they gave me credit for. My new will is airtight and independently witnessed. When my time comes, my money will help people who truly need it, not adults who think they deserve rewards for breathing. Is blood thicker than betrayal? Or is dignity non-negotiable? Should I have forgiven family members who plotted to steal my life's work and my independence? Tell me in the comments. Have you faced financial betrayal from family? How did you protect yourself? Because sometimes the people who hurt us most are the ones we trusted completely.